show during the coronavirus lockdown. A lot of mental health issues, a lot of concerns. Our first question comes from Val, and she wrote, "My 89-year-old mom is showing sudden signs of delirium. Can you offer some practical suggestions on how to assist her with this quarantine? She's normally active socially, shopping, hair salon, dining out, etc." Dr. Phil.
Well, I can, and I say this for Val's mother and also for everybody in this quarantine. You need to maintain your routine. You don't want to become a couch potato and a slug. You want to get up every morning, take a shower, fix your hair, put on your makeup, get dressed, groom yourself just like you do whenever the world is open. Because let me tell you, that door is going to open soon, and it's kind of like the pace car at a NASCAR race. When that pace car pulls off the track, you want to be at full speed. Let everybody else be looking for their keys and figuring out what they're going to do. You want to be up to full speed. You need to have your mind busy. You need to be working and doing things every day. Don't be sitting around, because particularly elderly people, their mind will begin to wander and they will not become cognitively active. You've got to be cognitively agile. This really has an effect on people neuropsychologically. I've been talking with my colleague, Dr. Marty Greenberg, and we're very concerned even about people in their 30s and 40s losing a step cognitively by being in quarantine.
Yeah, and kids, to go back, the kids have to be hearing from their teachers at the same time every day as if they would in school on video. You got to do something. All right, question from Don. What can people do to avoid confrontation with other members of the household since everyone is forced to stay home together? Dr. Phil, might be last question.
You know, that's a tough thing. You've really got to give each other space, and I mean space mentally, emotionally, physically. And before you judge somebody, you need to realize you're probably a jerk too. So just back off and give everybody some space. This will end soon. We probably shouldn't have ever started this, but just realize there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We need to get out of this and get back to work. Major depressive disorder costs $210 billion a year in America, and we're feeding it now when we don't need to be.
Now, and of course, domestic abuse hotlines showing uptick, concern about abuse of children, opioids, all the rest. Dr. Phil, we could do a whole hour with you, but you have your own show. So thank you so much for being on. Really enjoyed it and really helped a lot of people.
Well, Laura, thank you for giving a voice to this, and keep doing what you're doing, because you're keeping people active and you're keeping the pressure on. Thank you for doing it.
I'll do it. Thanks so much, Dr. Phil. And next up, for decades, elected officials and experts assured us that trade with China was in our best interest. They were wrong. We're going to name names. Stay right there.
Friday, the pandemic's market impacts. Where can you find safety in the ongoing fall?
3 minutes.
Their military doctrine, a significant part, just as cyber warfare or any other. If this were to turn out to be that, what should be the response? Because I'm not interested in 2- and 3-year programs, as I said to former Congressman Jason Chaffetz. This country is not operating in the 21st century if we think we've got time to retool, reposition, repurpose. We have to have an answer now.
We don't have time. We don't, I mean, this is not, we'll get around to it. This is like dealing with it right now today. If China has unleashed chemical biological warfare on the world, not only the United States, but on the world, then I think it is the beginning of a new Cold War, which they have started. And the United States needs to stand up to the Chinese economically, politically, diplomatically, militarily, in cyberspace and covert operations. We need to find allies who will stand up with us. And we need to go to the Chinese and say, none of this goes on. If you want a Cold War, we'll bash you mano a mano, but we don't want one. But if you're going to push us there, we're going to disengage, we're going to decouple from your economy.
If we don't go to war over the loss of 31,000 now, and certainly more to come, 31,000 American lives, what do we go to war over? When do we quit sending strong letters and talking tough? At what point are there consequences for this kind of behavior? Because whether they did it intentionally or not, we do know this, that virus was unleashed on the world and they lied, and that is the same as making it an intentional and conscious act of warfare as far as I'm concerned. What are your thoughts through
I
the
think
glass door?
look, I don't want to go to war with anybody, but I think economic warfare is where you
I don't
start,
either.
and we immediately start decoupling, particularly our technology sectors from the Chinese. No more intellectual property theft. I mean, we really bring it down hard on any kind of economic or technology transfer, not someday in the future, but tomorrow.
Well, I think it's interesting that suddenly, our some of our national security officials have decided that maybe the first dismissal of any sort of conscious intent on their part in the Wuhan virus being unleashed has been rethought. That's progress, but by
Yeah.
God, it's taken a long time. KT, thank you so much as always. Great
Thank
to
you.
see you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
KT McFarland. Well, a nurse has made a miraculous recovery from the Wuhan virus after trying an experimental treatment, showing much promise in many places across the country. Some are dismissing that as anecdotal rather than scientific, but we are seeing positive results. And something else called proning. It involves turning a patient onto their stomach. Doctors say that this lifts the weight off the heart of lungs, opening up airways to particularly patients suffering from the Wuhan virus to remove mucus buildup. Joining us tonight is the doctor who invented the process. And joining us tonight is Dr. Christopher Voskopoulos. He's director of ICU at Southern Hills Hospital in Las Vegas. Doctor, great to have you with us. And I have to say, first of all, good for you, and thanks for thinking out of the box and coming up with an original idea that obviously is of great help, great benefit to your patients. How did you come up with it?
Well, here, Lou, I would have to give credit to some of my heroes, actually in some of the hot spots in New York and in New Orleans and in Detroit. Those were actually the individuals who tipped us off that the technique of proning was valuable in our fight against COVID-19. We immediately implemented that into our treatment strategies, and then we've also then after that improvised on it as well.
And the idea of proning, it seems, I've never heard of it before this crisis, as you say, in hot spots in Vegas, in addition to those hot spots. Why have we never heard of this before?
So proning is something that we have used on occasion in critical care medicine as a rescue treatment. Individuals who cannot breathe and have a breathing tube and have to go on a breathing machine, if they fail